It was men that brought prosperity in the leadership position in this nation. Okay, but today we have Marjorie Taylor Greene. And and anybody that votes for her, you're not a real conservative. It was men that brought prosperity in the leadership position in this nation. Okay, but today we have Marjorie Taylor Greene. And and anybody that votes for her, you're not a real conservative.
Looking pastor. His name is Jason Grabber from Spokane, Washington. And he really does represent the traditional conservative ideology that people like Marjorie Greene seem to love, right? Well, let's hear a little more from Pastor Grabber about where he thinks Marjorie Greene should really be today.
Marjorie Taylor Greene should be at home being obedient to her husband.
That's good.
That's what she should be. Where's her husband? Any of these so-called conservative women, why are we putting them in a position of leadership when they can't even figure out which a good husband to marry? Because any husband that allows his wife to go and run for Congress is a pathetic beta man.
Amen.
Okay, that is wrong. That is wicked. Okay, there's something wrong with that man. He shouldn't show his face in public. He should be so embarrassed.
Seems like Pastor Grabber wasn't fully informed on where the current status of Marjorie Greene's relationship is with her husband. Her husband did recently file for divorce, and he cited that the marriage had been irretrievably broken, which, looking at Marjorie Taylor Greene and the kind of person she is, I get it. But I also want to be clear, this pastor is not delightful. I was being sarcastic. You really have to be clear these days. You never know. But more importantly, this is what they think of women. Like, this is what they think of anyone who breaks the conservative 1950s nuclear household model. And these are the people that the Republican Party tends to cater to. And so I'm just curious what Marjorie Greene thinks about that. I mean, according to this man, according to this pastor, according to a traditional conservative, she should just be at home. She has no place in politics. I think she has no place in politics for other reasons, but nonetheless, Cenk.
Yeah. I mean, Lauren Boebert talked about this recently, about how she has to obey her husband, something along those lines. So, look, it's not my ideology. I think it's a backwards, ridiculous ideology. And but hey, that's your side, right? And so Marjorie Taylor Greene seemed to have a couple of affairs, and now that they're separated, she's seen around town with another guy. And I mean, do you guys mean it or don't you mean it? I guarantee you that if it was a Democrat, it wouldn't be just that pastor. It would be every right-wing pastor in the country. Imagine if Michelle Obama had done that. Okay. It would be every right-wing preacher, pastor, evangelical person, forget even their leaders, right? It would be everyone in right-wing media, etc. But even look, the one thing you got to give this Pastor Grabber credit for is at least he's being consistent. He's like, Democrats, Republicans, I don't care. Women suck, and they shouldn't have any rights, and their only job should be to serve men. That is a right-wing position applied consistently. So I guess give him credit for that. But look, man, we don't live 200 years ago. So I don't care what Marjorie Greene does in her personal life at all. That's her business. And but generally speaking, right-wingers don't agree, but only when it comes to us, but not them.
Right, exactly. I also wanted to just quickly bring up another issue with this pastor, because I'd never heard about him. I was curious to see what other sermons he's given, and the guy is seriously unhinged and preaches some pretty dangerous things, including what you're about to hear. He talks about teachers and how they should be beheaded. So just want to give you a warning about that as well. Let's watch.
And everybody is getting all riled up. We have to have the red wave. We need to have the red wave, otherwise, we're going to be destroyed. And in some ways, yeah, I agree. We're going to be destroyed, But here's the thing: if we have this red wave, are they going to do anything?
No.
Are they going to pass, the abortion ban nationwide and have all abortion doctors retroactively put to death? Are they going to do that? No.
Okay, so in that video, he's specifically talking about the need to execute abortion providers. In a different video, he also talked about the need to behead teachers because he believes that they're groomers. So this is the kind of hate that this guy gets to preach, but I'm sure it doesn't incite any violence in the country, Cenk. I'm sure that the political violence that we've seen in the country isn't at all connected to the kind of rhetoric that we hear from lunatics like this guy.
So, look, if you keep calling abortion murder, you shouldn't be surprised when right-wingers start saying, why aren't we locking up the doctors, the mothers, the women, and then if it's murder, they're right-wingers. They're going to start talking about executing them. So it's begun. It's begun. So I'm sure he's not the only preacher in the country saying it, but soon there'll be many, many more, because the Republicans thought it was a winning strategy so they can get tax cuts for the rich. So they egg these guys on. Abortion's the original QAnon thing. Oh, they're harming the children. Make sure we give tax cuts to the rich because the Democrats are harming the children. And they get their followers to actually believe these things are true, and then start talking about insane things like murdering doctors. So welcome to the Republican Party in 2022. And then you wonder why we look, no matter how incompetent Democrats are, guys like this force us to vote Republican. Force us to vote Democrat because the Republicans are monsters, complete and utter backwards monsters.